This appears to be happening. This is not conjecture.
Big news out of the gate as we begin today's show with the SEC, a possible conference expansion with Texas and Oklahoma. This came out yesterday afternoon. I don't think it's a coincidence this news broke while Texas A&M was taking center stage at SEC Media Days, and everyone had to answer questions about it on Radio Row. Greg Sankey did not deny these reports. He didn't speak to the reports either from the Houston Chronicle that stated and reported that Texas and Oklahoma are looking for a move to the Southeastern Conference. And that's where we start, guys. Massive news for a potential conference realignment where we would make a super conference within the SEC with Texas and Oklahoma joining.
It feels like every week has been this seismic feeling of the ground of college sports shaking beneath us. From NIL to one-time transfer rules and now to the reality of the super conference. And that's where we are because this appears to be happening. This is not conjecture. You've got orangebloods.com today reporting that this report being leaked has now sped up the process to where Texas will make the announcement next week that they plan on leaving the Big 12 for the SEC. This is huge. This is awful news for the Big 12. Big 12, dead, gone, will never be heard from again. Everyone there needs to try to latch on to some other conference or figure out something quickly. And for the SEC, it's more of the same. World domination. It's not even the Big Ten you can't even talk about them anymore in the same breath unless the Big Ten now answers and does something else. But I don't know what the answer is if you were going to acquire Texas and Oklahoma and those two brands and what they mean to college football. If they're going to join the SEC, it's over for everyone else. It is SEC, and if you're on that ship, you are going to be financially sound in all of your sports for eternity or as long as these television contracts last. And if you're everyone else, you're looking to find a life raft and jump on board with either the SEC and whatever else they do next or some other conference.
Who's next? What I thought last night, like how's Clemson find its way in? Who could it partner up with to keep the number even and SEC become the NCAA? You know, we talk about 4 super conferences. We used to talk about 5, right? Now I think you talk about 4 super conferences. But if the one super conference is so big, numerically speaking, the other super conferences can't keep up size-wise. And so already, if you went that route, there'd be an imbalance, not just in strength of teams and programs, but in size. And so if we go this direction, this already throws that plan off, right? One's going to be so big and powerful and have such gravity that the others aren't going to be able to keep up, and it's going to be overweighted in favor of the SEC.
So they need 11 of the 14 current teams to vote this through.
That is correct.
To pass. And in the past, we have seen an alliance with Kentucky, Florida, I believe South Carolina, and Georgia. They have voted in the past to not allow teams within those states to join the SEC in the past. That's why we haven't seen Louisville in the SEC, for instance. That's why we haven't seen anyone other than Florida in the SEC, because they have joined together and made a pact. This is prior to Texas A&M joining the conference. That they were not going to vote in any schools within their states. Texas A&M is completely against this. Will that pact stay together in their line of thinking? Because would this open the door for other schools down the road to join?
And you could totally understand Texas A&M being against this, right? I mean, they got their independence, separated themselves from Texas, got their own identity, got away from them, got joined the bigger conference, joined the best conference, got away from Texas, differentiated themselves from Texas, and now here comes Texas.
Yeah, 2012 when they left, it was a direct response to the Longhorn Network and what Texas was doing that was an unfair advantage over the Big 12. And Texas A&M wanted out, and they got their independence, and they got that independence by being the one SEC brand in the state of Texas, and they've been selling that. They've been getting more of the 4- and 5-star players in that state. I think they got 8 of them in this last recruiting cycle. Texas got 1 from the state of Texas. Texas is looking at that saying, boy, we need to be able to sell the SEC brand also to even things out with A&M and see what we can do with that. Let's also state the obvious here, and I know there's been articles that have pointed to this or sort of speculated about it. Brent Zwerneman broke this story. Brent Zwerneman covers Texas A&M for the Houston Chronicle. Brent Zwerneman was tipped off. The high-ranking college official that tipped him off is Ross Bjork. It does not take Sherlock Holmes to figure this out. Ross Bjork is the only SEC AD, maybe one of only two, that made his way to Hoover to do interviews. And he happened to be there on the day Jimbo Fisher is there.
Right.
The story's leaked, and he starts going and doing interviews. A press tour immediately. He was told, and he told Brent Zwerneman, drop it now. We need to get the word out and stop this and talk about how it's a bad thing. Jimbo Fisher kind of laughed when asked about it with the report and said, I'm sure they want to be in here. This is the best conference in the world for ball. So I'm sure they want to join the conference. This is the start of Ross Bjork and Texas A&M's crusade to keep Texas out of the conference and in turn keep Oklahoma out of the conference. Austin American-Statesman reports Missouri will vote no. That's 2. They need 2 more. I don't know where you're going to find the other 2.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified every time Outkick 360 goes live. We are live weekdays, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, right here across the Outkick network. And while you're at it, like this video and let us know what you think in the comments below.